Converting Moles to Grams by Mr. Thiel. Alright, in this video we are going to work on converting a given amount of moles into grams. And so we've got one sample problem here to look at. And the sample problem says, what is the mass in grams of 2.25 moles of the element iron, or chemical symbol Fe? Okay, so we start off this problem by taking a look at what we are given. We are given 2.25 moles of iron, and that's shown right up here. And we have to look at what we need to find. We need to find the mass of iron in grams. So we need to find the mass of iron in grams, as we can see in the diagram above. So this diagram that's above is a diagram out of our textbook, our Holt Modern Chemistry textbook. And I find that this diagram in the beginning is a very useful thing to use when you're solving these kinds of problems. Now ultimately you'll have to just know how to solve these problems, and you won't be able to rely on the diagram every time. But while you're practicing these and working on homework and that sort of thing, I encourage you strongly to use this diagram. It's very helpful, and I will be using it in these videos that I make, sort of an introduction to how to make these conversions, and this leads into what we call stoichiometry in chemistry ultimately later on. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is we are given moles of the element, and so we can write this down. We have 2.25 moles of iron over 1. Now what we need to do now is we need to take the number of moles and multiply it times the molar mass of the element. So that is the mass of the element per 1 mole, mass of the element in grams in 1 mole of that element. Now in order to do this, what we need to do is or the easiest thing to do is to find the periodic table, and we find our element on the periodic table. So our element is iron, and there is iron on the periodic table, and hopefully you can read it on this copy here. But we can see on the periodic table that we are given the average atomic mass of the element. Now the units of average atomic mass are in AMUs, or atomic mass units, but it is an extremely helpful fact that the units of atomic mass, or the average atomic mass, is numerically equivalent to the molar mass. So if we have iron, which has an average atomic mass of 55.845 AMUs, that is numerically equivalent to its molar mass in grams. So it would be 55.845 grams per mole would be the molar mass of iron. So with this piece of information, we can now come back and write down our molar mass of iron. That is 55.845 grams of iron per 1 mole of iron. And so based on this diagram above, if we take the moles of iron, multiply that times the molar mass of iron, what's going to happen is our moles of iron are going to cancel out, and we will be left with simply grams of iron, which is what we were asked to find in the first place. So we go through and do this math, and we end up with 125.65125. Now that number hopefully sticks out to you as a number with too many decimal places, so we have to round that to the proper number of significant figures. So if we look at the data that we are given, we see we have 2.25 moles of iron, and we have so that number has 3 significant figures, and the molar mass of iron that we're given, 55.845, has 5 significant figures. So we have to round to the fewer number, which is 3. So we round to 3 significant figures, and so our number becomes 126 grams of iron. So 2.25 moles of the element iron is 126 grams of iron, and this problem is done.